Good day, everyone. This is Pilot Niels, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at lasers in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hey now, everybody. How's it going?
Hello there, Drac. How is 2024 treating Barovia?
Frigid and snowy. I'm trying to figure out which one of the gypsies out there. I'm looking at all of you. I know it was one of you. Pissed off an ice dragon and some ice elementals. One of you did it, and I will find you. And you will pay for your insolence that you did to make them mad. Because holy crap, is it cold and snowy here.
All right. Are there white dragons in Barovia?
Apparently now there are.
Oh, I was thinking maybe the Draco Lich.
Could be. I didn't think about that. It might be him again. That is true.
Yeah, that's
is
always
true.
All right. Because I know that there's one of those in Barovia.
Yes, I forgot all about him. It might be the Dracolich. Anyway, I'm going to find whoever did this, and you shall pay.
All right, then. In the meanwhile, I guess we can have a look at 2024 and what's coming up, because we have a Year of the Dragon producer's letter.
We did, and this was a little earlier than expected when they had kind of hinted, hey, we're working on the producer's letter. It's going to come out. It was kind of hinted at it would be closer to the anniversary, but they apparently got things worked out, and we have it now. So here we are.
It even beat out Lotro by a week.
I wonder, I didn't look to see if they had their letter yet or not, so I wondered, well, what's happening in DDO in 2024. Tolero did post this over, so let's take a look. She starts out by saying, greetings, everyone. Today, I wanted to tell you about some of our plans for the year in Dungeons & Dragons Online. I hope you all had a fantastic 2023 and that you're ready for even more adventures. I'm having a bit of an adventure myself at the moment due to a winter storm. I hear ya. Writing a draft of this producer's letter in the dark by candlelight with one of those old-timey writing things, a pen and some paper. Okay, now that's kind of cool, actually. So, yes, apparently some of the Barovian weather, I must be getting some of that weather in the future because this was in the past. Again, this podcast is all sorts of timey-wimey.
Yeah.
In a way, it's kind of thematically appropriate. It has me thinking about when I used to write D&D adventures by hand for my friends. I think we have all been there. It's been nice to pause and reflect on the enduring D&D moments, because it is the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. Which is freaking amazing. That's a half century of people lovingly making their character builds, their campaigns, and playing with their friends. And yeah, sure, a lot of the tools and technologies have changed in 50 years.
That's sure.
Just a little bit. But what hasn't changed is the passion and creativity for everybody who loves D&D. That's a huge reason why it has endured. As luck would have it, the 50th anniversary happens to fall on the lunar year of the dragon. How fantastic is that? So that means we're going to celebrate big. Dragon big.
Yeah, and I think the ones who are celebrating this as much as the D&D people are, of course, is the producers of polyhedral dice. Boy, a lot more has been produced over the last 50 years than before it.
Indeed. Indeed. They're like, Mr. Gygax, thank you. Thank you very much. It's because of you. We are now multimillionaires, I'm guessing. So, we know the 50th anniversary of D&D is this year. So what does that mean for D&D? Well, starting at DDO's anniversary in February, we're going to be rolling out a year-long celebration in honor of D&D's 50th. You're going to get free gifts to new features each month during the Year of the Dragon celebration. There's going to be something exciting for the players. Be sure to check with us on February 7th. That is when we're going to reveal each month's Year of the Dragon surprise. So February 7th, we'll find out each month of the rest of 2024 what we're going to be getting as part of this Year of the Dragon celebration. The fun does start during DDO's 18th anniversary on February the 28th. And can we just talk about how awesome it is? DDO has been around for 18 years. That is amazing in itself.
And it is nice that because the Year of the Dragon starts officially, it looks like on February 10th.
Okay.
So
Well, everything just kind of worked out.
trying to work out, yes.
The first surprise is going to be a dragon-themed archetype. We will talk about that here in a moment.
Yeah, we've already heard about that. Yes.
Because we have, yes. At the time of this producer's letter, when the producer's letter came out, we did not know other than, hey, there's going to be this new dragon-themed archetype. But we now know what that will be. I said we'll talk about that here in a moment. The Year of the Dragon celebration will last all the way until next year's anniversary. So that is pretty amazing. Also, if you remember for the past, I think 3 years now, 4 years, 3 years, at least 3 years. Might have been 4. About this time, usually they do free code where you can get a ton of free quests. They are doing that again. Tolero says to help get your friends and family ready for the Year of the Dragon. She is pleased to announce the return of the special code that can be used to get you a ton of free quest packs. You can use the coupon code FREEDDO2024. So free DDO 2024. This is available through Saturday, February 11th, 2024 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern, -4 GMT. Note, you have to do this through the in-game store, and also it all must be uppercase. So it's free, FREEDDO 2024, and the free and DDO has to be in uppercase. And that is going to get you a ton of quest packs. I am going to put a link over in the show notes to where you can see exactly all what you're going to get, because there is a ton of these that this is going to get you. So if you are a free-to-play player and you don't have some of these quest packs, enter this code. Even if you're a VIP or a premium member, enter this code. It's going to unlock them on your account just in case you don't have them, or if maybe you would ever stop your VIP for any reason and drop down to premium, you will have these unlocked on your account, and there is a ton of them. And I was going to look it up before we started recording, but I had some issues. Imagine that, me have issues. Shocking. And before we started recording, this time, the Trials of the Archons and White Plume Mountain and Other Tales is included. I don't think those were in the last free code. I could be wrong on that, but I just really don't think those two were included last time. So, but as I said, this is a heck of a way to get a lot of content, and this is a lot of content. So go do that. Enter this code before February 11th. So, with all that out of the way, what's going on for DDO in 2024? By popular demand, the next major expansion. Yes, I said expansion. We're getting a new expansion. It's going to hit in the summer of 2024, and it's going to take place in a fan favorite D&D location. If you remember, we talked about it. I think it was maybe fall of last year. They kind of went. They had a little vote going on the forums, like, hey, these are the places, we're kind of thinking about which place excites you more. This was one of those on the list, and apparently this is the one that won, though there is some contesting about that on the forums. A lot of people say this is not the one that won, but that's neither here nor there. Well,
oh, you mean it's a contested election?
It is a contested election for sure. But the winner and the new expansion will take place in Myth Drannor. That is right.
What?
We are going to go to Myth Drannor.
Whatever that place is.
What?
You got to remember, I don't know the realms all that well.
Oh, I always forget that.
Yeah, you always forget. Yeah, yes, I somehow was, that was during my, I guess, blank period was the realms. Either that or were the realms introduced on the boxed editions?
Okay, yeah, I spent a lot of time in here because the friend that I had at this point when I was playing pen and paper,
Yeah,
I was a player more than I was a DM,
right.
and the friend that was running our campaign was like really into Mid-Drainer, so that's where we always.
Okay.
Quick little history of Mid-Drainer. I won't go into it's kind of long and convoluted, but it is formerly known as the city of Cormanther. It's also sometimes referred to as the city of Song. It's an elven city. At its peak of when the city was in its most popular state, there was no city could compare to the way this city looked, the people that were there, the actions. It was open to all races, which was a little different from most cities. Usually they were, there were certain races, but they welcomed everybody. The Cormanthier city later became known as Drannor, as a mythal was raised, and a mythal is a magic kind of fountain pool, you could say. It's again, that's like there's a whole history of those in D&D too, which I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about the mythals. I know a little bit because we kind of played some pen and paper that revolved around them. But about the time Elminster, good old Elminster,
Him I heard of, yes.
visited Mid-Draenor, that's when the mythal was raised. So it was a city of magic, and this mythal allowed everybody that was in the city to use magic. Even if you weren't really a magic user, you could still tap into this mythal and use some form of magic.
That's not going to create any trouble whatsoever.
Exactly. And then there was a bunch of wars, and then, like I said, if you want, let us know. I can, maybe do a whole little small history on Mid-Draenor. I can put a post up, and maybe I can see if Beaker, I know you're out there listening somewhere, see if Beaker wants to come on, and because he would know way more about the lore than I do. I know, like I said, I know a little bit of the war, but there was wars, and then the city fell to ruin, and then the elves went back in, and then raised the city back up, and then there's dwarven dungeons under the city, and then the city got destroyed again, and it's a long, complicated. But that's a quick. But if anybody wants, let us know. Send an email, podcast at ddoplayers.com. Our reply over on the YouTube or on the post of this over on DDO Players if you want more of a history, and we'll see what we can do for you. But Tolero does say in the producer's letter, going back to that, Mid-Draenor is a place where opening yourself to chaos can allow you to tap into greater power. It's that power that has attracted the Red Wizards of Thay. Yay! I love the Red Wizards of Thay, if you can't tell. And this is... they were kind of hinted at a couple other times in DDO, but we've never really explored anything about the Red Wizards, so I'm going to be interested to see what they do. Players will need to explore both the ruins of Mid-Draenor and interfere with the plans of the Red Wizards. This is the quintessential D&D dungeon delving environment. Pre-sale for the expansion will start in June. Any other thing we want to talk about the expansion before we move on?
Okay, so yeah, I'm trying to think. Okay, now what's going to? I'm sure there's plenty here to make people who are familiar with the realms jump up and down.
Oh yeah.
What about for us people who says realms? What are they?
After, I think the biggest thing, and it's going to be interesting to see what they actually do with this. After the time that the last war took place and the city was demolished for like the last time, and it's never been re-raised, so now it's just like the ruins of Mid-Draenor. Basically, it's like the city is still there, but everything is in ruins. All the dungeons are still underneath the city, so there's all that we can explore. We can explore the ruins of the city, but the mythal is still there and it's still active. But with the last time the city got destroyed, it changed. So now magic is considered wild magic. So it'll be
Oh,
interesting to see what DDO can do with that. Because, like, I'm thinking, you're in this and your caster cast a spell. Maybe that spell will backfire on you. Or maybe that spell will, maybe you'll cast Fireball, and instead of Fireball, you're going to get maybe Earthquake. Or you might get Lightning or something. Because it's going to misfire or backfire, or it could maybe damage you, could maybe damage the party. It's going to do something that you're not expecting because of the wild magic aspect of the mythal.
you're not encouraging me here.
Like I said, I am super excited and then there was a video game that took place in Myth Drannor Drannor, sorry. And again, that's a contested thing too, on how you say it.
Oh, yeah, Drannor just doesn't look right from the way it's spelled.
Right. I see Drannor because that's how Ed Greenwood says it. And he's the one that created this place, so I'm going with him. But I've heard it Drannor, I've heard it Drannor, I've heard it Drannor, I've heard it Draenarier. I've heard that too. So insert however you want to take it. I say Drannor because that's what Greenwood says.
Okay, then I'll assume then that the name of the city, at least that second name of the city, is in a language that's not English.
I will have to ask Ed Greenwood. If I run into him at Gen Con, I'll say, yo, dude, Myth Drannor, tell me about it. That would actually be awesome if I would do that. Maybe I'll... Let me write that down. More on Gen Con later, too. So apparently Panleap is not super excited. We'll see.
We'll see when we see the announcements in June and stuff like that.
I always forget there's some of these places you're like, you have no clue because you never really did it in pen and paper.
Especially if it involves the realms. Most of my realm stuff is probably from what we did in DDO. There isn't much realms in DDO.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely. Like I said, if you want to hear more about it, let us know. We'll work on, like I said, Beaker. I'm looking figuratively at you because I know you're out there somewhere listening. You always do. So besides the expansion, there's going to be 2 quest packs this year. Mm-hmm. There is also this is kind of a contested producer's letter this year because this drawn a lot of file and fire on the forums too. There's going to be a new dynamic event with new quests to unlock. So if you remember back, just recently we had the Illithid event where you had to fight the Illithids that would show up randomly in dungeons. And then once you killed enough of those, that would unlock the endgame dungeons that unlocked.
Yeah,
so
you mean the one that was of absolutely no interest to anyone who wasn't at higher levels?
Right. So hold that thought. Hold that thought. Dynamic events differ from our seasonal festivals, and while they are limited time activities, they are focused heavily on the serious story narrative and DDO canon. Some aspects of them don't repeat once the DDO community has advanced the story, i.e. you unlock the dungeons, they're unlocked forever. They're also meant to have elements to let players experience the event together with collaboration and peer information sharing. After reviewing feedback on the Illithid invasion, this dynamic event will be inclusive of all character levels, since the Illithid invasion was fairly endgame focused. So there you go. Okay. So this new event, we have no idea what it's going to be. They haven't given any hints or anything. Is going to be similar to that. We're guessing it's going to run something like that, but this time it's going to be all character levels. So whatever we're going to do, it's going to be beneficial to everybody, not just higher level players or endgame players.
And we can put beneficial in quotes just in case it does.
That would probably be a safe thing to do.
Yes,
we'll do the beneficial with the air quotes. So yes, so we'll see. The thing that drew most of the ire about this new event over on the forums
Yeah.
was this will take place of the hardcore season so that all players can participate. Wah wah. So they did go on to specify this, that there is no plans, I repeat, there are no plans for any more hardcore seasons in 2024 after the one that's currently running ends.
Yes. I did notice, though, that during the video.
Yes, I was going to bring that up too.
She said that they are not completely out of the question of doing a repeat of one. It's just that they don't want to do number 10 because it's supposed to be number 10. I think it's supposed to be the next one.
Right, yeah.
And they didn't want number 10 to be a repeat of another one, but they don't have time to develop a new one.
Right. So Tolero did say Jerry had her on Fridays at 4 a couple weeks ago. And yeah, as Pine said, she did say they're open to maybe doing a redo season because those are easier to do. It doesn't require as much manpower because they already have the stuff. They just usually add a little twist to the redo. So yeah, so we might get one of those, but there's no plans for that, and she didn't really promise that. She's like, we might be able to do that. This really divided the community because, there's some people, they live for hardcore. That's all they do. There's some people that's the only way they play DDO is hardcore. They were like, well, I'm done with DDO if there's no hardcore. There's no point. Which I don't understand, but
especially DDO is just based on Dungeons and Dragons, which is by its parent game is not a hardcore game.
Right.
I mean, okay. Well, I guess if you don't reach a certain level and have certain spells available, but
I don't get it. But God bless you if that's the way you want to play. If you live and breathe hardcore, like, God bless you, son. God bless you. You go, you live as long as you can live, and you have fun. That is not how I play DDO at all. But that's what's great about, a game. We all have different play styles. We can all play and hopefully get together and, be nice about it. But yeah, so we'll see. So yeah, this is a little hotly contested that there's going to be no hardcore season, so we'll see.
Okay.
But we're anticipating that event will be sometimes in the fall, though they did stress that dynamic events may not always be during the fall going forward. So this sounds like this is something they're going to continue doing. And they might, make tweaks because they're going to see how this one goes. And they took the feedback from the Illithid invasion. So they're going to change this one. And then like the next one, they might tweak a little bit due to feedback. So, but just remember, this one's going to be in the fall. Going forward, if they do these again, which it sounds like they're going to keep doing these, maybe it'll be in the spring. Maybe it'll be winter. Maybe it'll be a summer event. Who knows? But it's not always going to be in the fall.
Maybe there'll be something in this event that will be attractive to the hardcore players.
Maybe because they said they're going to open up to all levels. So yeah, maybe they'll do something to where it's like, something special will happen during it. If you run quest on like Reaper 10 or something, it changes the event or something. Yeah. I mean, it's, like I said, there's different play styles all across the board. So we'll see what they do.
Okay.
And then going on with the necessary store infrastructure upgrades that were completed last year, they are also looking forward to rolling out the long talked about and often pushed back updates to the VIP program. Those VIP updates, again, let's use the air quotes, will be coming spring of this year. Yeah. They've made changes, thank God, to the proposed rewards based on player feedback, and we'll have more information on that soon. If you remember, we did talk about this when this was first announced. The VIP proposed thing that they were doing sort of looked like you logged in so many consecutive days and you unlocked rewards, and the rewards were, let's face it, crap. They weren't that great. We talked about this in the podcast several times, so you can go back and find those episodes. But they made changes. We don't know what changes they've made, so we'll see. And then she rounds the letter out with they'll update Crystal Cove and Night Rebels to support the higher level cap. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that. With the expansion, we're going to get a new level cap too. I didn't even.
34.
Yes, 34. We didn't even. I kind of glossed over that because I was so excited about Myth Drannor. I didn't even talk about that. So yeah, updates to Crystal Cove and Night Rebels. She did point out Night Rebels is getting a new dungeon this year too. Yay! That's great because the other ones I can pretty much run in my sleep at this point because I grind that so much to get the horse every year.
Oh, you mean this? That event that I generally ignore.
yeah, exactly. That event, which I love. That you're like, what's Night Rebels? Yeah. So.
And Crystal Cove is I think even less than Night Rebels, if I remember.
Yeah, I don't run Crystal Cove that much at all, if ever. Really.
Maybe they'll have something interesting in these updates they're making to it.
So then, with the producer's letter, at the end of the producer's letter, she did kind of roll back and say, hey, this is what we did in 2023. We won't go over that because we've talked about all this stuff ad nauseum. On the podcast. You can go into the show notes, get the link and see that if you want to read all that. But we did get our developmental roadmap, which is something new they're doing. They started this last year, I do believe. I don't remember them doing this before last year.
No, I think last year was the first year.
Okay, that's what I thought too. I don't remember them doing this, which is kind of nice because then we can go back and say, hey, did they actually manage to do any of this stuff?
Yeah, and in fact, that's what I did for Lotro during our year-end review.
Did you? Okay, nice.
Yeah, we went right over that roadmap and say, okay, what did they hit and what did they miss?
Oh, nice. Well, let's kind of pencil that down, and maybe in our year-end review, we'll do that as well because I like that idea. All right, so the 2024 developmental roadmap for Dungeons and Dragons Online, Q1, Snowpeaks Festival.
Well, that sounds like a easy one.
Year of the Dragon reveal.
Okay, that's okay. We got a couple weeks before that's supposed to happen.
Yep.
Okay.
18th anniversary.
Well, it's hard to miss that one.
Epic Destiny Balance Pass. More on that in a minute.
Okay.
VIP update.
We hope.
So we hope, exactly. Knock on whatever you want to knock on, see if that happens.
Okay, Q1 looks like the softball quarter.
Yeah. Q2, Year of the Dragon continues. We have the first of the 2 adventure packs. Actually, 3 adventure packs. So the first one's coming out Q2. Expansion pre-purchase.
Oh, expansion pre-purchase then. And that means there'll probably be some sort of nice thing that you get that you can start using early if you pre-purchase.
I would assume.
We'll find out in June.
Yeah.
We'll find out probably in June. Yeah.
Well, I would say so, but I would say if I was a betting man, I would say it's going to be similar to other expansions, going to be similarly priced. You're going to have your standard, your deluxe, and then your Ultimate Fan Edition that's going to give you all the bells and whistles. It's going to have cosmetics. It's going to have a horse, I would assume. Yeah. I'm guessing everything is going to be the same.
Right.
And I'm saying right now, I'm going on record, I'm saying pricing going to be the same or very, very similar to what the other expansions have been.
Right.
Q3, Year of the Dragon rolls on.
Okay.
Expansion is released.
Okay.
The level cap is increased.
All right. Yes, we could. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Level cap increase. That next one we're going to see. Do they actually make it before the end of the quarter?
Mm-hmm. The raid is going to be released, so there will be a raid that's going to come along with the expansion. And Tolero did say, I do believe it was on the Fridays at 4 when she was with Cordovan. The raid is going to be Myth Drannor, so it's going to have something to do with that.
Well, that sounds like almost a given.
Would make sense, exactly.
Yeah.
Then Crystal Cove is going to hit, and then we're going to get another adventure pack.
Oh, okay.
So then, so Q3 was pretty busy. There's a lot, especially with the expansion, so we'll see.
We'll see if they make that.
Q4, Year of the Dragon, rolling on still. It's a long year of the dragon. It's
Yes.
just lots of dragon
What's a
stuff
year?
coming.
That's why they call it a year of the
Exactly.
dragon.
It's right in the name, right there. Year of the
Yeah.
dragon.
And actually, yeah, actually, that should probably continue also into January of next year.
Yes, it will, because they said it's going to go on until the next anniversary. So
Right.
it's going to continue until February of 2025. Then we got Night Rebels coming with the new dungeon. Yay. Then an adventure pack yet again, and then Festival. So that is what we have to look forward to in 2024. Can they hit all these? We'll see. We will see.
Well, I don't see anything extravagant in here.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is the expansion.
Yeah, but then they've been doing expansion
Right.
for several years now. So.
Right, yeah. So, I mean,
to me, it's like, do they actually manage to get the raid out in the same quarter as the expansion? Because that's always been a tough challenge for them.
right, yeah. There's been a couple times where it's kind of slipped like way after the expansion. So,
Yeah.
So, we'll see. But there you go. Overall, I'm excited about this stuff. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the Year of the Dragon, since we're getting something every month. Like the first one's going to be the new archetype, and then it could be a cosmetic. It could be. I mean, we don't know. They didn't really say exactly what.
Are there any dragons in Myth Draenor?
There used to be, but not anymore. Like I said, now it's just ruins.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying there couldn't be one in one of the dungeons, maybe, but to my knowledge, I don't remember there ever really being a dragon.
Well, now, is there a recent redo of the Myth Draenor storyline, or is it, or could they be using that as a setting and then creating their own stories with it?
Which is what I'm going to guess they do, because no, God, I'm trying to think the last time. Like I said, there's been some video games that were like, I'm trying to think, like the last pen and paper probably would have been either the Ruins of Myth or the Fall of Myth, and that's been a while. I mean, we're talking back into I think those were even second edition. I don't think those were officially 3.5 stuff. I think that was all second.
That's another explanation for why I won't know much about it. The second edition was the point where I knew least about what was going on.
Yeah, hopefully Beaker can correct me, but I'm pretty sure the last official products for Myth Draenor were for second. I don't remember anything for third coming out for it.
Okay. So that means that it's possible that they could be able to create a story like the dragons returning to Myth Draenor.
They could, yeah. That's I didn't even think about, but yeah, they could. Like I said, what I think they're going to do with it is they're going to play on the wild magic aspect, and then they're really going to delve heavily into the dwarven dungeons that are underneath. So I think that's what, and then like you said, they very well could weave like a whole DDO type story into with dragons.
Yeah. Especially considering I guess because of my time in their other game, that when I think of Dwarven Ruins, the first thing I think of is, dragons are making a home there. Because it happens all the time in the other game.
Yeah, I mean that would totally make sense, and I could see that even from a pen and paper, looking at it pen and paper wise, that would make total sense, because dragons like hordes of treasure, and they usually take over like a dungeon or like something like that. So that could make total sense. I could see them doing that.
All right. And that could mean that whatever the pre-purchase is, that maybe they have the archetype is coming out now. So I'm just trying to think if I can't think of any new classes or races, because we already have the Dragonkin.
Right. Yeah, because we have Dragonborn already. So yeah, I have no idea.
Dragonborn, yeah.
I have, I mean, there's really no, I couldn't think of any other class or race, like maybe, Yeah. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think
Yeah.
of anything. It's like, hey, we need a dragon blank.
Yeah, something that could fit in with the Year of the Dragon to go with the Myth Drainer pre-order.
Yeah, I can't.
That's why I'm wondering is because I would have because in the Year of the Dragon, the first thing that would come to my mind would have been Dragonlance. And that would have really fit the year.
Yeah. Never
I know they
happened,
never
but yeah.
done Dragonlance in DDO, but that's another matter.
But I mean, they could, because it sounds like most of the rights issues have been worked out for that. So I guess maybe.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did have all those
Yeah,
issues for all those years.
That's apparently worked out now because that just came out for 5th. So that could be a possibility. The other, and I kind of hinted at it when we were talking about the little poll that they had, and people voted. Most people wanted Planescape. That was the one that everybody says won, which I don't know. I was going to look to see if the poll was, if you could still see the results of the poll, but I don't think it's even up anymore. But yeah, Planescape, I don't see DDO ever doing. One, there's certain aspects to Planescape that they would have to work around. If you're familiar with Planescape, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to dwell on it. Don't get me started on that. And two, I think it's a rights. And when I say rights, I mean money issue. Right now, I think Wizards, Hasbro are holding on to Planescape, and they're going to charge a lot of money for that. And Beaker and I have kind of talked about this too, and we both kind of agree. I'm pretty sure that's going to be expensive to do anything with that, because they're doing a lot of stuff in 5th ed with Planescape right now. So yeah. I think they will want some money for that.
Okay. In fact, that might be that they made an inquiry about it, looked at the price tag, and decided we'll go with number 2 then.
It very well could be. Like I said, I that is all subjective. Just thinking on our parts, we don't know. I don't know anything. Just keep that in mind. I don't know any of the inner workings of SSG or anything like that. So I don't know if that's the case. I'm just saying from what I know of Planescape and from how Hasbro WotC has been acting, let's just say, we talked about that ad nauseum on the podcast as well. I think you're not going to see Planescape for a while, because that's their cash cow right now, I think.
Right. And I think in Myth Drainer, as you said, if there was nothing published for it since 2nd edition, then Hasbro would probably have no trouble letting out a license.
Right. Oh, yeah. Because I'm sure they're like, sure, you can do something in that, because we haven't touched that in X amount of years.
Yeah.
And then now if it gets super popular and people love in DDO, just watch what happens with Hasbro. I'm just saying right now, I'm going to call it. They'll ruin it. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, that's the producer's letter for 2024. So the Year of the Dragon. Like I said, I'm excited about everything. There's really nothing in this producer's letter that made me go, what? Why are they doing that? It's like I think for once I am pretty optimistic and excited about the producer's letter. Because remember last year we were like, what is the point of this producer's letter? So this year we gotta, all right, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to that. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming up for 2024 in DDO, at least in my opinion.
Okie dokie. You want to put in one more plug for the questing coupon before we head on to our next story?
Yes, use that coupon code. Go into the DDO store. And once again, this is the DDO store in-game. Don't go to the market. Go to the in-game store. Free, FREEDDO 2024. All in uppercase for the free DDO, and get yourself a ton of quest packs for free, which is amazing.
Now, are some of the expansions on for a discount at the same time?
They are actually, and that is they are going to be 99 points, which is a great deal, especially if you don't have some of these. Masterminds of Sharn, Menace of the Underdark, Mr. Bravenloft, hint, hint, go buy that because it's amazing. The Shadowfield Conspiracy, all at 99 DDO points in the store, and those will be on sale to February 11th, 2024. So go, if you don't have any of those expansion packs, go buy them for 99 points. You can't beat it with a stick.
Right. Then let's then go into a Lamannia preview, which is, well, Lamannia is closed now, but they did have their first preview and some release notes relating to that. And it looks like there are 4 things in this. We've got our Dragon Lord, which I'm sure carries on what we were talking about before, AoE range, Epic Destiny refresh, and tooltip overhaul. So the Dragon Lords is the biggest one, it looks like.
That and the Destiny rebalance, I think, are the big ones for this, which I just noticed I forgot to put them in the show notes. I will have to update the show notes. So yeah, the Dragon Lord Fighter, which is the new type. We have the Destiny balance refresh, the tooltip upgrade, the AoE experimental ranged attacks. And then there was a look at the new dungeon, but that's coming in update 67, so we're not really going to talk about that.
Okay.
Because it's basically a work in progress, but it's it revolves around Fred. That's all I'll say about that.
I don't know. It looks like an April 1st dungeon based on the title.
Yeah. And if you go on the Lamannia forums, there was a lot of people that were like, hey, can we get back to serious dungeons again? So I'm tired of all the comedy dungeons. But anyway, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't go on Lamannia this time, so I don't know. But yeah, Lamannia is now closed. But this was our first look at some of the Update 66 stuff. So the big one of the big things, of course, was the Dragon Lord Fighter. This is the new type that we're getting. This is based on the Dragon Lord Prestige class from 3.5 Dragon Magic Book. The Dragon Lord is a fighter that models their tactics after the ferocity, that is a hard word to say, of dragons to demoralize and subdue their enemies. They will excel in crowd control, defense, and draconic power.
Okay. Sounds a bit Skyrim-y to me.
A little bit. That's kind of the first thing I thought too. I'm like, okay. I am not familiar with this Dragon Magic book at all. That was the thing with like 3.5. There was a lot of these like splat books
Yes.
that came out as like, hey, here's new options for this class. Here's 500 books for this class that you could. So yeah. So a lot of these I'm not familiar with, and this is one that I have no clue. And nobody I ever played with ever played one of these, so okay. But yes, there is going to be a new Ravager, which is going to be one of the trees. This is going to be a modified version of the Barbarian's Ravager tree. It does not give a rely on rage, though. So, if you're familiar with a Barbarian, most of your stuff revolves around rage. This is not going to do that, but it's going to use the same tree, and they're going to modify it. You cannot spend points in both this tree and Barbarian's version of this tree at the same time. So keep that in mind if maybe you want to do a weird kind of build. You can't do that because it's going to conflict. The Dragon Lords are not going to be an innately shield proficients. They're not going to. Let me start that whole sentence over because that did not make any sense. What I just said. Dragon Lords do not innately get shield proficiency. So that said, you do have a bonus feat, and you could take shield proficiency if you would like.
Or of course, if you multi-classed into a class that has it.
Right. So instead of the fighter bonus feats at class levels 1, 8, and 16, you take Draconic Aura feats, which would make sense. Your will save progression changes from poor to good. Then the Draconic Aurora feats that you can take at levels 1, 8, and 16. allow the Dragon Lord to select an aura feat instead of the finder bonus feat. As we said, you select one basic aura at level 1, one secondary at 8, and one at 16. These auras run constantly and simultaneously. You can swap them out by talking to Fred if you would like. It is intended that these morale bonuses do not stack with everything, especially any low-level spells. Upgrades in the Dragonlord tree eventually will help these exceed the bonuses of those spells. They did say they do not intend to change this to unique typing. So you have the basic aura at level 1 is going to be Nebelurches. Sure, let's go with that. Hunger. You and your allies close to you get a +2 morale bonus to attack rolls. Azarak's Defiance. You and your allies close to you get a +2 morale bonus to your saving throws. And then Thoraxia's Instinct. You and your allies close to you get a +2 morale bonus to your tactical feat DCs. And if you're sensing a theme here, yeah, those are all dragons. So it makes sense. We're going to continue that theme as well into level 8 for the secondaries. Vela's Fury. You and your allies close to you get a +3 morale bonus to your damage rolls. Sinbiel. Dragon names are weird, okay? Sinvala, sure. You and your allies close to you get a +3 morale bonus to your PRR. And Eternity's Ward, you and your allies +3 bonus to your MRR.
Oh, no. Eternity doesn't have a draconic name, has a...
It's just a regular name.
Yeah.
It's a cool looking dragon if you've ever done the Eternity fight, which you probably haven't because you don't really run Night Rebels, but that's where Eternity is found in Night Rebels.
Okay.
And then your level 16 is the Truthful One's Might. You and your allies close to you get a +4 morale bonus to melee power. Not even going to attempt to pronounce that one.
Gloroastas?
Sure.
Whatever.
Close enough. A +4 morale bonus to range power. And then Korkaza's Forbidden Power, +4 morale to your universal save.
Spell power.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. Universal spell power. Sorry. I was looking up at something else. So, yeah, there you go. That's your little feats you can take. And then there's a lot more. We won't go deep into this because
it'll change 5 times.
Yeah, this is going to change. The other thing that I did want to point out is at Core 1 in your Dragonlord tree, you will have these Soul of the Dragons, and that you can commune with a dragon type. So red fire, white cold, blue electric, black acid, green poison. Makes sense. So yeah, once again, show notes. Links to this, you can read it on the Lamannia forums, but take it with a grain of salt. All this is going to change. This is just the first pass. I'm sure second pass, some of this will look totally different. That's just the state of how Lamannia is. So just remember that. So there you go. I am not really excited about this whatsoever, but maybe it's just me. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see these new types that we're getting because it opens up more playstyle and more builds. So I'm all for that, but I don't really foresee myself making one of these. Number one, I really don't enjoy playing a fighter, and I'm going to put a little asterisk with that. I mean, I do play rogues, and I guess they're kind of up close and personal fighters, but that's the closest that I get. I've never made just a straight up fighter before, so that's just not my cup of tea. But yeah, as we said earlier, different play styles for everybody. So I know it looked like on the forums there's a lot of people excited about this. I'm not like super excited about this, but yeah. Other than the fact, like I said, I like to see the new types because it does open up more play styles. Yeah.
I might make one just for experimenting, but I think my main character for this year is going to be that. Well, I'll discuss that later on in the show, but something I discussed during the end of ear thing in there. So
Yeah, I might, make one just to play with
much
or
lighter.
something and
Yeah.
experiment. But yeah, I'm not gonna. Oh my god, I'm dropping all my other characters and I'm gonna focus on this now. I don't.
Sort of like what I did with the Storm Singer.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Not like it's not like like okay, cool. So that I'm assuming we'll have another build on Lamannia. Could be this week, could be next week. Who knows?
Oh, out of curiosity,
Yes.
concerning archetypes.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure this was mentioned a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, or whatever, when archetypes were first introduced. But I was wondering, but now we have so many enough archetypes around that someone may say, "Hey, what happens if I dual class these two archetypes? Is that even legal?"
It is not possible.
Okay, so you can only do an archetype when you first create your character?
Yes, to my knowledge, yes. If I am wrong, podcast at DDOplayers.com point it out and tell me you can do that, but I do not think you can. I think you can only have one. There's no way to dual class it or splat. Yeah.
All right, so that's why when I created my Stormsinger / Artificer, it was right for me to do the Stormsinger first because I wouldn't have been able to do the other order.
As far as I know, yes. But like I said, please tell me if I am wrong on that.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, you cannot do that. So also on the Lamannia that was just up and is now closed is the Destiny Balance refresh. Go read this. Some of this stuff is like, I am just now getting to the point on Kyber to where I'm actually really starting to look at Epic Destiny because I usually have not played with that. And I'm getting to a point now where I'm really looking at this and trying to wrap my head around it. And of course, now they're changing it all. So yay me!
Yeah, that's sort of the thing is I think that as guaranteed that anytime I'm in the mood to play a character over level 20, I'm sure the Destinies would have changed at least once since the last time I tried it.
Yes. So, go read this. We could talk about this more in the future. We'll get a guest on that can actually speak to this and say, this is what this is. This is what this means. That is not me. That is not Pine Lake. So, yeah. So, but like I said, links, show notes, go read it. See it. Basically, it just looks like each one of the Epic Destinies they are going to add some changes to. From what I see, there's nothing like earth-shatteringly major in any of these. They're just changing, a few things. Maybe they're adding some damage to something, maybe lowering some damage on one thing. But if there's something that maybe, we're overlooking that it's like, oh my God, I can't believe they're thinking about doing this, let us know. Because, I have no clue about any of this stuff.
All right. Then let's go to tooltip overhaul. I'm hoping this is less controversial than some of the other stuff.
They do say for update 66, they're embarking on a bit of a spring cleaning pass on how DDO will generate its tooltips. These changes hopefully will make looking at abilities a lot easier. Less walls of text, more auto-generated info, all the good stuff. This is what they're proposing about changing. All action lines other than the description are now a bulleted list. Okay, that would clean it up. Makes sense. There is now an empty space between the automatically generated stuff and the description. Again, just style-wise, it would look better. Any duplicate information, such as duplicate cooldown lines, when hovering over a spellbook entry or spell information in the enhancement tree, has been removed. Again, a lot of this is just to make it look better, easier to read and digest.
Right.
Save information is now color-coded between Fort, Will, and Reflex. I do like that a lot because then you could just glance and say, okay, like what's the save for Reflex with this? Okay, cool. Spell resistance information is now color-coded and presented only if the SR check is active, aka you will see the spell resistance only if the ability needs it. If you have material components eschewed via a character ability, the spell now reports this is a per slot basis because you can assign eschew on a per slot basis.
You can?
Yeah, you can, actually. I do that on my Warlock a lot, actually. You didn't realize that? Yes.
No, I think
I don't play a lot of spell casters, but yeah.
I guess because I just use eschew on everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. We don't see Pine Leaf's learning something every day. Look at that. We no longer display an SP cost of 0 if the ability has no SP cost. Makes sense. HP cost abilities are now reported in red, and key cost are in yellow. Fixed a bug where druid abilities reported the wrong DCs. Fixing a bug where projectile spells have the wrong DCs, and anti-requisites now display in the enhancement trees and destiny tree. Okay, I mean overall, that's just kind of making everything look cleaner, easier to look at. So not a bad thing at all.
All right. So the list controversial. Now, are we going to talk about the other stuff, or are we just going to skip that because neither of them are for the current update?
Yeah, we'll kind of skip it, but they are looking at changing AoEs. We'll just kind of glance over that a little bit. I kind of looked at this because I do a lot of AoE range attacks on my rangers, so I was like, what are you doing to this? And then again, this is like, okay. They say we're trying out an experimental new feature in this preview for AoE range attacks. Remember, only on the Lamannia that is not closed. This is not on live. Remember that. Ranged attacks are fired from your hot bar like any other ranged attack feat or enhancement, with the following differences. When the projectile collides with something, instead of dealing your weapon damage and effects to that target directly, that enemy and all nearby enemies in a small area are hit with your full weapon damage and your effects, as if they were also hit by the projectile. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, now how's this different from what was being done before?
It used to be, it was only, that is a good question. I think what was happening before is the nearby enemies were only getting like a partial bit of the damage and effects. They weren't taking the full damage. But now they're going to take the full damage and any effects that you have applied before.
Okay. So it's more like a barrage into an area instead of splash damage from the target.
It's like a real actual AoE, yes. Because like you aim at, person A, and B, C, and D are also going to get hit, and B, C, and D are going to get hit with your full damage and your full effects, and not just a little, splash damage. It's like, oh, they were close, so they're just going to take a smidge of that damage. And then improved precise shot does not work on these attacks, as to not create a massive chain reaction. Boo! I was looking forward to that, because that'd be freaking amazing. I would be a death-dealing machine if that would be the case, but alas, not going to happen. And then in the preview, they did change a couple things for Horizon Walker and Sharadi Champion. Once again, probably going to change, so I'm not going to talk about it. But once again, go over to the show notes, read these. I don't see anything wrong with this, just from, like I said, I didn't go on Lamannia, but just from reading about these, I'm like, okay, all right, this is fine.
All right. Now let's go and find out what's coming in from the dungeon. Where Penguin Random House announces some new D&D accessory.
This is kind of weird and kind of unexpected, but okay. Yeah, it's actually from 10 Speed Press, which is a subsidiary of Penguin Random House, but the main person that's publishing is Penguin Random House, but it is from 10 Speed Press, just to be perfectly clear. They're going to bring out a Mimic Treasure Chest notebook set and a new stationery box. They say, do you need to protect some game secrets from prying eyes of players? Then the Mimic Treasure Chest notebook is for you. It includes 5 4x6 blank notebooks, which are stored in a clamshell box box that does look like everyone's favorite 5e Mimic Monster. And if you're watching the YouTube, you're seeing the picture of this. If you're on the website, you can see this in the article. Yeah, it looks like a Mimic. Basically going to be a cardboard Mimic box that you put notebooks in. I don't know what else to say about this. It's just really weird. MSRP is $27.99 on this. Okay.
Okay.
Like, did the world really need this? I'm sure, I guess. Okay, so it'll probably, they don't really say how big it's going to be, but it's going to hold 5 4x6 notebooks. So I would assume it'd be a little bigger than that. You can probably
4x6.
Yeah. So you can probably use your imagination on how big the box itself is going to be.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very big.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be very big at all because it's 4x6 notebooks. But we might be able to show you on a video, though, because my 10-speed press / Penguin Random House rep did reach out, and she was like, hey, I saw that you posted about these. Do you want some of these? And I'm like, sure, I want some of these. So we'll see. Supposedly we're going to get product samples of these so we can actually look at it. But I mean, for $27.99, okay, I guess. That seems a little expensive for 4 blank notebooks, but I guess you're kind of paying for the cool Mimic box. I do like the way the Mimic box looks. I will give you that. That looks pretty cool. But this is just a weird product.
We'll see how big it really is. Yeah, because 4x6, because it's
not going to be very big.
Those are pretty small notebooks. Because usually, I mean, a 4x6 notebook is pretty small.
Right. Yeah. So don't get your hopes up on this is going to be like this huge Mimic chest you can set on your desk. Yeah, no, it's going to be tiny. Also coming on August 13th, that's when the Mimic chest book will come out. Also on the same day is going to be the Book of Concealment. This is a D&D licensed journal and game screen. The Book of Concealment was designed to be a multi-use Dungeon Master tool. It's a paperback journal that unfolds into a 4-panel game screen. Game screen is going to feature artwork by everybody's favorite Hydro74, who does most of the alternate game store only covers for D&D manuals. So that's where you might know the Hydro74 name. Can also be used to shield stats and strategies from those prying player eyes. The screen features foil stamping and removable stickers on the front, and does have a D&D reference stat blocks on the interior side, so you can use it as a DM screen. It has all the stats that you need. MSRP is $24. Again, I'm not jumping up and down about this, but okay. At this point, I think we have plenty of DM screens out there, but I mean, I guess choices. I like the artwork on it. I will give them that. That's a cool looking dragon.
All right, then let's head on to something that might be a little bit more in your bailiwick, and that is we have a release of the deluxe Vampire the Masquerade Book of Nod.
Oh my god, I want this so bad. So bad. Yeah, if you're familiar with the Book of Nod from Vampire the Masquerade RPG, you know what this is going to be. This is the deluxe version. It's going to come over with 90 art prints, a replica skull, 2 stone statuettes, a stone tablet, a Book of Nod amulet, a leather wrap containing pages from 11 different kindred manuscripts, also 50 proverb cards, a Book of Nod symbol rubber stamp, 11 photographs, and a lot more. And it's all featured in this big, giant, huge wooden crate. This is amazing. It also retails for $300.
$300.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff in it. And if you remember from Gen Con, we did show this because they had it on display. It's a huge wooden box, and there's a lot of stuff in it, and the skull looked amazing. It was kind of huge, but yeah, $300. So if you're really, really seriously into the Book of Nod, here you go. This is available now. If your game store doesn't have it in stock, they can order it. You can also order it straight from Renegade as well. It's out there, but Yeesh. $300. I would love to have this, though, but not going to happen. And sadly, one didn't show up. I was hoping maybe Renegade would be like, let's send this guy one. He was drooling over this in Gen Con last year. But no, they didn't. Wah, wah.
Okie dokie. So this is a deluxe version of, what is it, 30-year-old poem now?
Probably 30, yeah, probably 30 years, something like that.
Yeah. That's it for what's coming in from the dungeon. So let's look at what's on the tabletop. Where Gen Con 2024 badge registration has been announced.
February 11th. You can hop online, type away, and get your badge for Gen Con 2024. The dates for Gen Con 2024 is August 1st through the 4th, of course, at the Indiana Convention Center and Lucas Oil Stadium in lovely Indianapolis, Indiana. This is going to be the 21st year that Gen Con is in Indy since they moved there in 2023. Just to keep you aware of how long they have been there. Once again, Sunday, February 11th. Yep, go ahead.
And they'll be sold out on Monday, February 12th?
You will see. Surprisingly, last year, did they sell out? I think 4-day badges finally sold out.
Yeah, well, when I say so, I mean the full convention badges.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll see. Prices, we'll talk about prices in a minute.
Yes.
David Hope, the president of Gen Con, said, "We can't wait to welcome back our amazing community from all over the world and celebrate the best 4 days in gaming," which apparently they have now trademarked, which I did not know that. But there was a trademark symbol after the best 4 days in gaming. So Gen Con owns that. Okay. You can't say it. You'll get in trouble. So,
well, I noticed they did not register that trademark though.
Which is true.
So
this is true.
So we'll see how it works.
we'll see. Yeah, this is the first time that there was ever been the little trademark behind that. We are also excited to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. Registered trademark, of course.
It's registered.
There's a difference. As we gather tens of thousands of gamers, cosplayers, and tabletop fans again for another unforgettable 4-day extravaganza this August. So 4-day badges are going to set you back $143.
What, they weren't going for the full gross?
They should have. A missed opportunity.
That's a missed opportunity, yes.
I didn't even think about it. See, only you would think about that. I am trying to think. Last year, I just pulled it up real quick. Last year, $135 for the 4-day. So inflation got to the price of the 4 days. Thursday, Friday badges are going to set you back $74. They were Thursday was $70 last year. Friday was $85. Or I'm sorry. No, I read that wrong. Thursday and Friday were $70 last year. So those are also up as well. And then Saturday is $90 if you just want to go Saturday. Cost you $85 last year. And then a Sunday badge, if you just want to go on the Sunday, is going to be $18. That one is only up $1, so not bad. It was $17 last year.
Well, there wasn't much room for it to increase percentage-wise.
Exactly. And then if you want to attend Trade Day, it is $243. Last year, that was $235.
What is Trade Day?
That is for game stores, schools, librarians. You have to be one of the above to get a Trade Day badge. And then that happens on Wednesday, actually, before Gen Con starts itself. A lot of game companies will have special presentations for those people. It's like, hey, here's what we have coming out. Here's the new titles we haven't announced yet. This is what we got coming. This is how you order them for your store, for your school, your library,
Okay.
such as that. It's like a business type event. It
right.
used to be that if you had a press badge, you could attend this, but they changed that a couple of years ago. You cannot attend now unless you are a teacher, a school worker, librarian, principal, or a game store owner. It's only for quote unquote trade. With that being said, housing registration is going to open on February 25th. Good luck to you all in that lottery. And then the ticketed event sales will open up on May 19th. Gen Con prices are up. Hotel prices are up
Okay.
a lot.
Ouch.
Like almost doubled. Some hotels looks like, of course, this is not in the actual housing block, so they might be a little cheaper. I just kind of looked at some of the prices, and my friend is a VIG, so he kind of got some estimated prices too on what it'll cost for the VIG. Because to tell you the truth, that's usually how we get our hotel, because he can actually get in before the lottery, because VIGs get their own little housing block. And yeah, hotels are pricey, super pricey. Yeah, like I said, some of the hotels prices look like they're about doubled. Some of the fancier hotels are triple the price.
And yes, and if the hotel rooms are going up, that probably meant that other prices, like the prices for Gen Con itself, has probably gone up as a result. That could explain the ticket prices.
I'm assuming, yes. I
Yes.
think everything, but I mean, we know how just everything is. I mean, you could go to the grocery store and look what you're paying now
Yeah.
for stuff versus what it was X amount of time ago. So yeah. So with that being said, we're still tentatively planning on attending Gen Con, but I don't know. This is really going to be expensive this year. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's always expensive to go to Gen Con and cover Gen Con, but this year it's really going to be expensive. Yeah. So, tentatively, we're still planning on going. I'm assuming I can get a press badge again. If not, I'm going to have to add in $143 on top of what my half of the hotel bill that is going to be, which we've already figured that out. And oh my God. So yeah. So stay tuned on our further plans for Gen Con, but as of now, we're planning with quotation marks to still attend and cover Gen Con. So we'll see.
All right.
No COVID restrictions so far, too, if you were wondering about that. Just like last year, no mask or no vaccination requirements. So totally open, whatever. They did say, if conditions warrant it, and the Marion County Department of Public Health say, hey, you want to have this event, you have to do this. It might happen, but I don't see it happening. So there you go.
It'll only happen if there's a serious outbreak that is
So
that comes along between now and then.
So keep that in mind, and if you want to send us money to help with Gen Con, hey, do that. That'd be great. Send me an email. We'll talk, because oh my god.
Let's then also now look at the latest game announcement from Stonemeyer Games. They have decided to continue on the success of Wingspan, and they have announced a new game, Wormspan,
which I don't think anybody saw coming.
Absolutely nobody, especially considering that the designer for this is Connie Vogelman, and at the time in which she must have been designing this, they had not yet released Apiary. So she was in the middle of designing two games at the same time.
Two very different games, as a matter of fact.
Two very different games, yes. And one about bees, space bees, and one about
Exactly. What about dragons?
what
So
about
yeah,
dragons?
the core studio behind Stonemaier Games, of course, Expeditions, Wingspan, Tapestry, Scythe, and more, uh, have announced Wormspan, which is gonna pick up kind of where Wingspan left off, I guess. Kind
Well,
of,
not quite where it left off, but
but yeah. In the game, each player is going to set out to build a sanctuary for dragons of all shapes and forms. You will need to excavate a beautiful labyrinth and entice the beast so that they can find shelter from the world in your labyrinth. And then you'll start collecting dragons and eggs. And it, from what I gather, it plays similar to Wingspan. So if you're familiar with Wingspan,
but there are. It builds on the elements
yeah,
from.
it's. I mean, there's some changes. There's going to be 183 dragons that you can bring to your sanctuary. So that's a lot of dragons.
Yeah.
It's going to span over 32 pages in the Dragon Fact book. And there's going to be 65 different cave cards, 56 speckled egg tokens, and many, many more. You're not going to have to wait long for this. If you're super excited, you're like, yeah, I want to dragon eggs. I want to raise dragons. You don't have to wait long. January 31st, it's going to go for sale over on Stonemaier's website at first, and then it'll eventually come to game stores and stuff. But your first crack at it's going to be on the website, 10 a.m. Eastern on January 31st. I've never played Wingspan, so
Okay.
I've seen people play it. I've watched people play it. I've watched a little bit of some videos. I mean, it looks interesting. This is more exciting to me and interesting to me than Wingspan, to be honest. So, this might be something I might check out. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. No, someone thought that was funny because one person posted on Board Game Geek noticing that the designer Connie Vogelman is that if you translate from the Dutch means Birdman.
Is that right? That's hilarious. That's kind of funny.
So that was an interesting little twist on that matter. But anyway, yes, Stonemaier Games, Wormspan is going to be their first game for 2024.
Yep, 1 to 5 players, about 90 minutes.
1 to 5 players. It does include the solo mode was done by the Automa Factory, which is the usual solo mode creator for Stonemaier Games. So let's head into our week in gaming. Drac, what were you up to?
Over on Kyber, if you remember last episode, we did our gaming goals for this year, and I talked about I want to create a new Dark Hunter and see how high I can get it. I did that. Right now, I'm setting at. I couldn't remember if I was at 6 or almost at 6. I think I actually hit 6. So we're going to say it's either almost to 6 or level 6. We ran either with just Evil Beaker by himself, or it was Beaker, Saphira, and Beavis. We were kind of running quest on and off together, but basically it's Beaker and I that are running together mostly for this, but Saphira and Beavis hop in. At times, we did all the harbor quest. We finished Waterworks, and then we ran the new Catastrophe quest, which I really love that quest a lot. That quest was so fun. We're doing these all on Elite or Reaper 1, the Catastrophe we did run on Reaper 1. I'm just having so much fun with this Dark Hunter because I really wanted to dig into the Dark Hunter because I have a couple on Caneth, which is basically my quote-unquote home server. That's the one that I play with you. I do have a Dark Hunter over there, but haven't really played it much because we've been bouncing around between what we've been doing. So I've been playing different characters. So this is just kind of like my goal this year is just to create I started it at level 1. We started play from 1, and then we are just playing normal. We're not, like Zergan or doing anything like that. We're just normal play, just having fun, just doing all these quests and just having fun with the Dark Hunters. So we'll see next podcast if I'm higher than level 6. See if I gained a level or 2. We will see. And then I did play a lot of video games, actually. Computer-wise, played the Dungeons of Sundaria. We did talk about this a little bit. I finished the first dungeon, and I can't judge how big the dungeons are because they're all like the dungeons are made when you go into the dungeon. It populates and makes, so they're different every time. So I can't say, hey, this dungeon should take you X amount of time. I did finish the first one, the Crypt of Horrors. I'm now in the second dungeon. I just started it, so I have no idea how far I have. The game's okay. It's nothing to write home about. It's got some quirks. It's early access, so they're patching it a lot. It's got some quirks. It's got some bugs, but it's early access, so that makes sense. It's your basic just dungeon crawler. You just crawl, you get quest, you go crawl the dungeon, you get gear. Nothing super fancy, but I like it. Graphics are nice, so I've been playing that. Played some more Baldur's Gate 3. I am so loving Baldur's Gate 3. It is so good. I think I'm maybe a third of the way through the main story. To be honest, I kind of do what I do a lot of times in Baldur's Gate games. I have paused the main story and I'm just doing side quest and doing the companion quest and stuff like that. So I'm not forgetting about the main story, but I'm like, yeah, I know the main story's there, but there's all this stuff over here. Look at all the shinies over there, though. We'll get back to the main quest, but if you haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 yet, what are you waiting for? It's so good. Then I played Unmatched Digital Edition. Played that both on the PC and on the Steam Deck. Plays really well on both. The only thing with the Steam Deck is some of the text is a little hard to read because it's a little small on the Steam Deck. But Unmatched Digital Edition plays so well. They did such a good job with the conversion. If you are familiar with Unmatched, you know how to play it. It plays just like the board game. Then also on Steam Deck and PC both, I played Slay the Princess. This is a really weird game.
Sounds like it's from the title.
It's hard to explain. It's a visual novel that you go through, and when you first start the game, I'm not going to spoil it because things change, but when you first start the game, you're outside of this shack and you have this like voice that's basically in your head telling you, hey, you have to go in there and kill that princess, because if you don't slay the princess, the world's going to end. And then it goes from there. And then depending on your choices, different things happen. And then I'm trying to think of how not to spoil it, but
that sounds like one to avoid spoilers.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So it sounds like then something that because you're given a task doesn't mean you have to follow the letter.
And let's just say some things happen, and then all of a sudden you're back to the beginning, but things are different. And things change and progress depending on the choices that you have made previously, and so on and so forth. This isn't going to be
like a Terminator type scenario.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I have played it maybe about a half hour, and so far I'm back to the beginning of the game 5 times, and it's totally different every time. Okay. So that's the only way, because I can't say anything else without spoiling it. But yeah, look it up. It's on Steam. I got it during the winter sale. It was pretty cheap. It's a different game, to say the least. If you don't like visual novels, you're not gonna like it though, because it's basically a visual novel, and then you just have choices and you choose, and then things happen. It's not like it's a quote unquote video game where you're moving your character around and you're swinging your sword. No, it's a visual. You're reading and you're choosing.
This is like King's Quest, are you thinking, or something else?
Yeah, you sort of. It's hard to explain. It's more along the lines of a choose your own adventure book.
Okay.
Think of it more of the longs like that. If you're not familiar with any visual novels, think of it as like a choose your own adventure book. You read the book, you make choices, you have choices, and things happen.
It sounds a lot like King's Quest.
Yeah, it's. I can see where I can see where there's a lot of King's Quest. Yeah, so just check it out. Even just like watch the trailer for it. And
Okay.
it's pretty cool. And then over on the Switch, played a game called Seven Pirates H. This is going to be for a review. The code was provided for review, so look for that soon. And then Blood Rain Revamped. This is just what it says. It's a remastered edition of the classic Blood Rain, but now on the Switch. So check that out. If you liked Blood Rain, it's really good. And then that's about it. So what about you?
All right, I'll begin with what I was doing on DDO, where I created a new Artificer / Storm Singer, as I implied earlier in the episode. I reached level 4, so therefore I am now level 2 Artificer and level 2 Storm Singer. I did note one of the disadvantages of this particular layout is, of course, that means that my pet is only level 2, so my pet's going to be half my level on that matter.
Oh, yeah.
So that's something that I need to take into account as I'm going in through this. And of course, seeing how I can mix together the Artificer spells and the Storm Singer spells, because there is a little bit of an overlap there and things like that on there. So I've ran through Korthos. I decided to run through Korthos because in Korthos there's a guaranteed rune arm in Korthos.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I decided that would be the best side to go through, since I'm trying to work with a rune arm build more than I do, of course, have the repeating crossbow, but I'm trying to see if I could work a little bit more on the rune arm side. And I decided to go with the build heading towards taking advantage of the single weapon fighter feat, because therefore I will have the rune arm, because I'm allowed to have a rune arm in that particular layout. So I have a rune arm plus, well, right now with the rapier, because I've got weapon finesse, so it'll help with that. My strength isn't all that high because because I'm a artificer, I need points in intelligence and I need points in dexterity, and of course Storm Singer needs points in charisma, so there is a little bit of tension there. So I got all those points in those things, and so unfortunately strength is left out on this, so I have to have weapons finesse. So I'm using rapier and rune arm, seeing how it works. And if it doesn't work out, well, maybe in 10 levels I'll find it. Anyway, I started out with Korthos, and I did a few harbor quests, and I started Salt Marsh, and now I was thinking of going back into Salt Marsh and doing Danger in Dunwater, but then I just remembered that, oh yeah, Catastrophe is level 4, so maybe I'm gonna go and run that next, so see what that's like, since I haven't had a chance to do that dungeon yet. And on the tabletop, I played at the inbox expedition for Astro Knights Eternity, which is the latest Astro Knights box to come out from indie games on that matter. And that's it for my week in gaming. If you would like to help support DDO Players, you go to the nation's page to support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. But if you would like to help with Drak's Gen Con fund, you can contact him at drak@ddoplayers.com. We have no emails this week, but if you like this one, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have Loach Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drak is available. You can join us for our shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Piling Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.